Hi everybody and welcome back to Borderlines today. So today what I thought I'd do is do a video basically about the Labour's alleged plans about potentially doing a windfall tax. So obviously they've got a budget coming up relatively soon. Okay. And there's a few rumours going around that they're going to plan on doing a windfall tax. Okay, which all sounds really good. You know, getting more money into the coffers so we can spend it on all the things that people want at the end of the day. And this is something that's been bandied about for years. So what I thought I'd do today, okay, because we like to look at both sides of the coin, and this does actually have a bit to do with borderlines at the end of the day, okay, of the benefits and the negatives of a windfall tax. Because every time it's been mentioned, whether it's been Conservative or Labour, they put it to the side. So I went and did a bit of research and thought, right, what are the positives and what are the negatives? So, positives. Raising government revenue. Okay, so it says a windfall tax can generate billions of pounds for the government without increasing tax on individuals. Okay, this money can be used to fund public services or reduce government borrowing. Number two, help support households. Revenue from the tax can be used to help people facing high living costs, such as through energy bill support, pension assistance, or benefits. Number three, perceived fairness. Many people argue that if companies make extraordinary profits because of global events such as wars or supply shortages, like, for instance, the war in Iran, where oil's being stopped from getting through, so petrol prices go up, okay, rather than improved efficiency or innovation, it is reasonable for some of those profits to be taxed. Okay, number four, reduces pressure for higher general taxes. You know, so for instance, income tax. Okay, on your wages. So just go tax and national insurance. Okay, for small to medium enterprises that aren't making lots of money, able to reduce the national insurance tax, corporation tax for them small to medium enterprises. Okay, all those types of things. VAT, okay, could potentially be reduced. So there's lots of things that could potentially be reduced if you was doing a windfall tax or a wealth tax, whatever you want to call it. And then number five, the final one, says addresses public concerns. During periods of economic hardship, a windfall tax can reassure the public that profitable companies are contributing more when many households are struggling. So the argument for it is you've got a lot of companies out there. For instance, banks. Banks at the moment are making billions. Okay. Energy companies. So you've got your big six, you know, British Gas, E.ON, EDF, and so on. Oil companies, you know, pharmaceutical companies. You could just run them off that are making hundreds of millions, if not billions of pounds each year. And a lot of the time, okay, and this is what gets put to me, and I remember a little while ago having an argument with my mother-in-law about this, but a lot of them, social media companies as well, as another one you could go and target, okay, but they don't pay their fair share because they've got very good solicitors. So the argument is that if you go and do this, okay, you can go and target all these big companies. Okay, so it's not for targeting small to medium enterprises, but if you go and do a wealth tax, like they said after the financial crisis, okay, as in when the banks crashed, they caused it. I would argue politicians actually caused it. that they should have paid for it. Their problem, they should have paid for it. Now the negatives. Now with everything, you're always going to have a negative. Okay, right. So, reduced investment. Companies may invest less in new products if they believe exceptional profits may be taxed away. This can particularly affect industries such as, already said it, oil, gas and renewable energy. Number two, lower investor confidence. Frequent or unexpected windfall taxes can make investors view the UK as a less predictable place to invest, potentially reducing future investment. Number three, potential job losses. Okay, so if business scale back investment or operations because of higher taxes, it could lead to fewer jobs, particularly in sectors directly affected. Now, the potential problem with this one is we've got a fundamental problem with youth unemployment. So if they're not going to invest and you're going to have a problem with jobs, guess what's going to happen? More unemployed and youth unemployment going even higher than it is. Number four, guess what? If you're going to tax a company more money, guess who's going to pay it? Going to pay for it? It's going to be the consumer. So higher prices. Although companies cannot always pass on the tax directly, some may attempt to recover costs through higher prices where market conditions allow. It's going to happen. Electricity and gas, classic point in. If it's going to be more, if they're going to have to pay more money, okay, and they're going to potentially lose money, because what you've got to take into account is most of these companies are going to be doing this. You know, they're public companies, they're PLCs. So once a year, maybe more often, they're either going to have to go sit in front of their shareholders. You know, you could go down the route of the classic oh God, Michael Douglas, when he does his speech, and I can't remember the name of the film now, and he does his speech saying, oh, look what they've done. CEO tells you what you want to hear, but at the end of the day, what you care about is this. And that's what shareholders care about. Are you going to be able to give them a better investment on what they've invested? Okay, and this is the fundamental problem. So, next one, short-term solution. Windfall tax provides a temporary boost to government finances, but does not address long-term issues such as an economic growth or structural budget deficits. And number six, and the final one, is defining excess profits. It can be difficult to determine what counts as an excess or windfall profit. Companies argue that profits should reward investment and compensate for periods when prices and profits are low. Now, then pros and cons. Now, when I look at it personally, I personally think a windfall tax is dangerous. Because one, you're not planning for long term. You're just looking at short-term way of getting cash in to give the public what they want. I've always argued when it comes to politicians, and it doesn't matter what party you look at, you could look at every single party across the board, they will always tell you what you want to hear. They will never tell you the truth. Okay. And this is why I always have problems with politicians, and they never want to come and speak to me. Now, see, that's where I see fundamental problem. So, what is the solution? Solution is not to do a windfall tax, because the problem is, as soon as you do a windfall tax, companies aren't going to invest. You're going to face unemployment, or you're going to face businesses not. Because at the end of the day, you know, if you take a look at net zero, everybody says oil and electricity bills are so high because of net zero. Does that mean if you get rid of net zero, electricity bills will come down? I very much doubt it, but they'll be able to make more money. So what is the solution? Because we need a solution at the end of the day. And I personally think it's not a case of increasing tax. I think what we actually need to do is decrease tax. And this is the reason. Because if you increase tax, you're going to scare companies abroad, which has already happened under the late days of the Conservatives and under the Labour Party. Lots of billionaires and multi-millionaires have gone abroad, whether it's Dubai, into France, Spain, Switzerland, all them countries where they're going to get better, going to be better for their businesses because they're going to be paying less tax. So I would actually suggest we should reduce tax, okay, especially on businesses. And this is the reason why. If we decrease tax, in my view, unless somebody can prove me wrong, okay, these companies make more money. They invest their money back into their businesses in the way of employing more people. And if they're doing that, they're paying more money to the Exchequer. The Exchequer can then reinvest in doing whatever they want to at the end of the day. So I actually think they're looking at back to front. I think they need to forget about doing windfall taxes. I think it's a massive mistake. Never seen any evidence that they've ever worked, and they actually need to reduce tax. Now, I know that's the kind of thing that nobody's ever going to want to hear, because they're going to say, oh yeah, but you're just helping your friends. The rich helping the rich at the end of the day. And you're right. Categorically right. It is. But if you help the rich out, the rich then help the poor out. And that's the way it's always worked. Fundamentally. We've got to help the rich. Because if you help the rich, who do the rich help out? They help out the poor. So let us know what you think in the comments. Okay, if you're new to the channel, please do give us a like and share. And please do follow the channel as well. But for now, thanks for watching, and I'll speak to you all a bit later.